horse racing. A furlong is 660 feet, 1/8 part of a mile. Well, here's what's interesting about the furlong. If you multiply it by 12 to convert it to inches, you discover that the furlong is exactly 7,920 inches. Where did we see that number? This is now a test of your memory. The diameter of the Earth. Remember I said the diameter of the Earth taken through the tropics, the sacred number that's representing the Earth? The furlong is to the inch as the Earth is to a mile. It's a proportion. This is a sacred proportion that was intentionally embodied into the units of measurement. So that we lay out a furlong, right, 660 feet, 1 inch, which is derived from our thumb, the width of our thumb, right there, you can check it out. Put your thumb on there and you'll discover it's 1 inch wide. That's the digit. So the thumb is to your foot in this cosmic relationship of 12 to 1. And when you pace, like this is how a pace was generally considered. You start from one point, put your heel against a point, and in every other step you count. 1, 2, 3. 1,000 of those, averaging 5.28 feet, gave us the mile, right? 1,000 times 5.28 is 5,280, and that was the origin of the mile. The mile is literally a mill, 1,000 human paces. The pace, think about the pace, what that is. Our foot, our pace. Our pace, our foot is what anchors us to the earth. Our pace is what moves us about the face of the earth, right? The most fundamental relationship we have with the earth, our feet, right? That ratio of pace to foot, 5.28. Now, we have, the furlong is 12,000 of these things, right? 12,000, the holy city is 12,000 of these things, 660 feet. Multiply that out, you discover 7,920,000 feet. So how big is that? Well, divide that by the number of feet in a mile, 5,280, and what you discover is it's precisely 1,500 miles. So what would be 1,500 miles in diameter? Is there some object out there that could be 1,500 miles in diameter? It's certainly described as being something they see in the heavens, right? Well, I'll leave this one an open-ended question for right now, but here's something that's interesting. If we take this number and divide it into, compare it to the Earth to get a sense of scale, Earth 7,920, Holy City 1,500. So we put 7,920 over 1,500, and Cameron, if you quickly do that calculation in your head, you'll discover that 1,500 goes into 7,920, exactly 5.28 times the relationship of our foot to our pace. So here's a very strange correlation. The earth to the holy city is the same as the pace to the foot. What are they trying to say there? Well, one of the implications of this, it follows from this truth. The truth is that we humans are ultimately designed according to the cosmic measure. We were created in the image of God, right? And God is the ultimate cosmic measure. And we, being created in the image of God, embody the cosmic measures. So when Protagoras said man is the measure of all things, what he was implying is that we are the ultimate yardstick for the cosmos. In fact, when one looks at the scale of phenomena, from the human up to the largest macro scale that we know of, and from the human down to the smallest micro scale we know of, where are we within that hierarchy? Right smack in the middle. So there's as much above us as there is below us. There's as much greater than us as there is lesser than us. And I think that's one of the implications of this, is that when we begin looking at our sacred geometry, we realize it's the ultimate fusion of all of these phenomena on all scales, and the ultimate component, or the ultimate symbol of all that fusion, is we ourselves. And then, of course, ultimately it's our consciousness, because, like I said, with his name written in our forehead, what that means is that when you study sacred geometry, you're literally building an edifice in your consciousness. You're building a form out of your own, the material of your own conscious mind that reflects this order of nature, of cosmic nature that's all about us. And that's the power, and why study of sacred geometry can ultimately be a key to accessing lots of other things like the Kabbalah and the alchemy and the Hermetic wisdom and the Gnostic traditions and the traditions of the Vedas and so forth. There it is, 12,000 furlongs, the city lieth foursquare, 48,000 furlongs on a perimeter. It's also described as cubical. 12,000 furlongs equals 7,920,000 feet, which equals 1,500 miles. The total perimeter, 31,680, that has a profound mystical significance, which we will save for another time. So there it is, a tabulation of some of the stuff we've covered. The diameter of the Earth at 7920. 1 furlong, 7920 inches. The diameter of the New Jerusalem, 7,920,000 feet, which is 1,500 miles. 1 mile is 5,280 feet, or 1,000 paces of 5.28 feet. 1.5 miles is 7,920 feet. And here's the pace to the foot, equals the Earth to the holy city, which equals 7,920 to 1,500, and there's that magic ratio of 5.28 that links the Earth to this other cosmic entity, for now going unnamed, that relates to our own scale exactly as our pace does to our foot. And what you discover is that if you're taller or shorter, it doesn't matter, because it's a proportional relationship. If you're taller, your pace, my pace is in excess of 6 feet. So 5.28, you're going to have a somewhat shorter, but you're going to discover that the ratio is relatively constant. Because as you get taller, presumably your feet get bigger, with some exceptions, right? I know some little people with really big feet. And here is the Hebrew cubit, which is 18 inches. Remember, 144 cubits according to the measure of a man, that is of the angel. We have the Egyptian royal cubit of 1.727 feet. The wall of the city was 144 cubits. If we take the 144 cubits that are the Hebrew cubits, it's 216 feet, or 2,592 inches. Add 1 0 on the end of that, and we have the great year cycle, 25,920 years. If we express it instead in Egyptian cubits, which may have been the original intent, if not implying that either cubit was legitimate, 144 Egyptian royal cubits of 144 times 1.727 is 248.814. Move the decimal over 2 points, you got 24,881.4. Call that miles, and there's the circumference of the Earth. 24,881 miles. So there's all kinds of information embedded in here, but you've got to have the key to begin to unlock it. Okay, and then also notice that the moon, 2,160 miles, or 17,280 furlongs, if we set the diameter of the moon to the diameter of the holy city, there's our 1.44 ratio. So what we have here is this redundancy over and over again. We have these same numbers recurring over and over again in the measure of time and space, both in absolute dimensions but also in the proportional relationships that result from comparing these various entities of time and space.